Good afternoon. I am Andrea Chisholm with the Midday News. A special welcome if you're watching on onespotmedia.com. PNP President Dr. Peter Phillips is taking Prime Minister Andrew Holness to task over what he describes as a lack of action in the fiasco at the St. Ann Municipal Corporation. We have details in this report.
Not one, but 3 instances of impropriety have been brought against the former chairman of the St. Ann Municipal Corporation, Michael Belnavis. First up was the $46 million cleanup project for the resort town of Ocho Rios. The funds were requested from the Tourism Enhancement Fund, TEF, by the corporation. The matter gained greater public attention after details of the contracts were revealed, including how the contractor was chosen. The details were unearthed in the Public Administration and Appropriations Committee, PAAC. The meeting led to the corporation's CEO, Ravel Morris, taking a break from his duties, and more questions at the feet of the corporation's now former chairman, Michael Belnavis. But the issues surrounding Mr. Belnavis escalated further with the installment of a charging port for the chairman's Porsche. Speaking yesterday at the PNP's Region 6 meeting in St. James, PNP President Dr. Peter Phillips questioned the inaction of Prime Minister Andrew Holness.
The same mayor is said to be involved in a company that built a structure on government lands without permission and against building regulations. That building was demolished only after it became public, but again the Prime Minister says he's waiting on an investigation. Yet the mayor has now resigned according to reports that we have received, while the Prime Minister is awaiting an investigation.
Dr. Phillips says the unethical issues which were revealed at the municipal corporation would not have been uncovered if it was not for the minority members in the council, led by Councillor Winston Brown. He also said civil society groups such as the National Integrity Action and the Jamaica Accountability Meter Portal had a role to play in the mayor resigning on Friday. The PNP president says more pressure will be added to get any acts of corruption dealt with.
It is going to require the concerted action of the people of Jamaica to stop this misuse, and I have to say theft, of the Jamaican people's resources that is taking place across the country.
Prince Moore, TVJ News.
In order to rid Jamaica's political system of nepotism and cronyism, Gleaner columnist Peter Espute is urging legislators to make the practice a crime. His view follows recent revelations of cronyism and nepotism in 2 Integrity Commission reports on Petrojam. While speaking on TVJ's Smile Jamaica this morning, Reverend Espute pointed to another case.
We remember the former mayor of Lucy, Sharonette Horton. She was found guilty of hiring or giving contracts to 11 of her relatives, sisters, cousins, etc., in-laws, and so on. But no, she couldn't be found guilty because it's not a crime. You mean to say there's nobody else in Hanover that could get these contracts other than these 11 relatives of hers? This is nepotism.
He believes the implementation of serious sanctions could reduce the practice.
Why can't we have the PNP who is seeking power or the JLP seeking to hold on to power? Why can't we pressure them to say, if you elect me, I'm going to make nepotism a crime? They don't dare do that, because then the people will not support them. Why should I support the party if I'm not going to get a job under cronyism? You know, it is a serious matter, I agree. But we've got to step up the pressure on both parties.
There's uncertainty when the Devon House complex in St. Andrew will reopen as the local government ministry investigates a breach of the Disaster Risk Management Order. Portfolio Minister Desmond McKenzie ordered the closure of the property. Mr. McKenzie says it has been discovered that Reggae Mill, a tenant at the Devon House complex, has been hosting weekend parties with hundreds of patrons not practicing physical distancing. The complex was also operating during the nightly curfew. Mr. Mackenzie adds that the closure of the entire property was necessary because the management of Devon House was complicit in allowing the event to take place. The local government minister said he has spoken with the general manager of Devon House.
She's very concerned. She has in fact raised concerns with me about certain aspects of the operations, which I am not at liberty to divulge. But she's very concerned. As I said to her, it is a matter that we can review, we can look at. But the government cannot have two standards. There is one Jamaica, and what is good for the people uptown is good for the people downtown. And what we are asking for persons to do is to comply.
In a post on its Facebook page, Reggae Mills said it has been observing regulations and protocols in terms of sanitizing, temperature checks and capacity limits. It added that all patrons must enter wearing a mask. However, once inside, patrons had a choice to remove the mask in order to eat and drink. Reggae Mills says it's in talks with the authorities to ensure all guidelines are followed. And it's now time for a break here on the Midday News, but stay with us. We have much more stories when we return. Welcome back, and we're continuing the news. The decline in water levels at the corporate area's two main catchment facilities has worsened, resulting in the National Water Commission (NWC) announcing that it will enforce a prohibition order. Effective July 9, restrictions will be placed on the use of water as the country grapples with prolonged drought. Persons will face a fine or imprisonment for up to 30 days for non-essential use of water provided by the NWC. They include irrigation and watering of gardens, lawns, grounds and farms, refilling of tanks, ponds or swimming pools for use other than domestic services, washing of vehicles with a hose, as well as watering or washing roads, pavements, paths or garages. The excess use of water for any purpose will also be considered a breach of the prohibition notice. Corporate Public Relations Manager at the NWC, Andrew Cannon, told our news center that the decline in rainfall has taken a toll on the Mona Reservoir and the Hermitage Dam.
Those are way below their normal capacity, and if we do not implement these measures now, then we are going to be in even more serious problems down the road. For example, the situation at the Mona Reservoir, it is below 50% as well, and of course, at the Hermitage Dam, is below 38%. So that gives you an indication as to where we're at.
A 5-vehicle collision in St. Thomas yesterday claimed the life of a motorcyclist. Dead is 35-year-old Dwayne Mitchell of Harborview, St. Andrew. It's reported that about 2:15 in the afternoon, Mr. Mitchell was driving a motorcycle as part of a convoy traveling along the Retreat Main Road. The lead car was forced to stop suddenly at a narrow section of the road to yield to a truck traveling in the opposite direction. This caused the first 3 vehicles to collide. The motorcycle, which was traveling behind the vehicles, hit the side of the truck. Mr. Mitchell lost control of the vehicle, suffered head injuries, and was pronounced dead at the Princess Margaret Hospital. The drivers of the other 4 vehicles were warned for prosecution. Dancehall entertainer Popcorn was traveling in the convoy. There were no other injuries. And back to news on the local scene. Opposition leader Dr. Peter Phillips is defending comments in the public over allegations of corruption. With the details, here's Ashane Masters.
The stewardship of Philip Paulwell, Lisa Hanna and Ian Hales is this afternoon being defended by PNP President Dr. Peter Phillips. The 3 members of Parliament have been embroiled in various controversies over the past few years. The most recent came last week when it was revealed by the Integrity Commission that Philip Paulwell, the Member of Parliament for East Kingston and Port Royal, received a $6 million donation from Petajam for Camperdown High School. The report indicated that Mr. Paulwell says he was advised to do so by then-Minister with responsibility for Petajam Limited, Dr. Andrew Wheatley. However, Camperdown's principal says no construction work was done as the donation was not enough to start the project. Mr. Paulwell said he only applied for the funds on behalf of the school. He said those funds were never given to him directly. Dr. Peter Phillips on Sunday again sought to clear the air, saying Mr. Paulwell did nothing wrong, a sentiment also echoed last week by PNP Chairman Fitzjackson. As for Centre Southeast Member of Parliament Lisa Hanna.
The situation is simple. The DPP has said that there is no basis for any prosecution. There is nothing for her to answer in that regard. And quite frankly, the country needs to have an understanding of what the whole kerfuffle is about. It's about $3 million over a period of time.
He says all the MP did was to name a contractor, which has been happening for years.
Andrew Holness has been asked, I have been asked, and the other 61 have been asked. It's a reality, and if the people, if the authorities don't know that, there may be need to change the system. But that is the system that is in place, because the agencies cannot go out and give out $30,000 to people bushing road for all separate contracts. It's just not how it works.
In relation to MP for Hanover Western Ian Hales over the building of the Just One Plaza in Orange Bay, Hanover, Dr. Phillips again defended his actions.
No report has been laid in the Parliament. None. And so none of us have any basis for examining, certainly I don't, for examining what is in such a report. So what you're having is an attempt at rumor-mongering, innuendo, misrepresentation, all trying to bring the PNP into the same frame as the Jamaica Labour Party, and we repudiate it.
He says based on dialogue with Mr. Hales, there is no need for concern.
I will act whenever there is any need to act, but there is no need to act now.
O'Shane Masters, TVJ News.
And Dr. Phillips is disputing calls that both political parties, he's disputing claims that both political parties are the same. According to the PNP president, the JLP is far more corrupt than any PNP administration.
We don't claim to be perfect, but we are sincere and have been sincere in our purposes. Let me put it plainly. The architecture of public accountability and transparency which this country now enjoys was put in place largely by the People's National Party. Michael Manley's administration passed the Parliamentary Integrity of Members Act in 1973.
And in sports, West Indies fast bowler Kemar Roach says the possibility of facing just two of the top 6 batsmen who played in the series in the Caribbean does not affect the mentality of the Windies team. Joe Root, Keaton Jennings and Johnny Bairstow, who played in the series in the Caribbean in 2019, will not play the first test, which starts on Wednesday. Jos Buttler could move down 1 spot to 7 in the England batting lineup, but Roach, who claimed 18 wickets in the 3-match series, says though not facing a similar lineup, the Windies bowlers are up for the task at hand.
Well, different conditions now. We're in England this time, so I've seen that England have made some changes to their batting lineup. So it's all about assessing each batsman and finding out their weaknesses and obviously exploit them. Of course, I would love to have the same batting lineup because that's what we got accustomed to for the last couple series we had. So, but some few changes here. So it's all about sticking to your game plan and then assessing each batsman, as I said, and let's see how well we can come up against them.
In the meantime, Roach says there is no real concern over the form of Captain Jason Holder. The 28-year-old failed with both bat and ball in the 2 warm-up games, but Roach says he expects Holder to be at his best come Wednesday.
Yeah, obviously Jason is very important to us. Going out there, he had a niggle early in the camp. Obviously, he's been treating that, and I think he's ready and raring to go now. I'm sure that he can come out here and obviously get himself ready and mentally prepared to obviously start on Wednesday. So I'm not really too concerned about it. We all know how Jason plays. He's very free spirited as well. He expresses himself, and he's fun to have around. So I'm sure once he's fit and ready to go, his mental aspect of it will come along, and he'll be definitely ready for the test match on Wednesday.
Wednesday's game will be played at the Agias Bowl in Southampton. And that's it for the Midday News. I'm Andrea Chisholm. Join us at 7 for the Primetime News Package. On behalf of the news, sports and production teams, good afternoon.